Jaya Gopi Janamala Yashodanandana Yamunatiravancha Jaya Radha Jaya Gopi Janamala Yasodanandana Yamunatiravancha Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Sankirtan Yoga Ki Jai, all glories to the assembled devotees. Go Premanandi, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 26, titled King Puranjana Goes to the Forest to Hunt, Text 4. Chacharmrigayam tatra
Chacharmrigayam tatra
Driptate Shukarmukaha
Driptate Shukarmukaha
Vihaya Jayam Atad Arham
Vihaya Jayam Atad Arham
Mrigavyasana Lavashaha
Mrigavyasana Lavashaha
Chacharmrigayam tatra
Chacharmrigayam tatra
Driptate Shukarmukaha Vihaya Jayam Atad Arham Mrigavyasana Lavashaha Chacharmrigayam tatra Driptate Shukarmukaha Vihaya Jayam Atad Arham Mrigavyasana Lavashaha
Chacharmrigayam tatra Driptate Shukarmukaha Vihaya Jayam Atad Arham Mrigavyasana Lavashaha Chachara mrigayam tatra. Dripta teshu karmakaha. Vihaya jayam ataraham. Mrigavyasana lahasaha.
Chara mrigaya tatra.
Chachara mrigayam tatra.
Tateshu karmaka.
Driptavateshu karmakaha.
Vihaya jayam ataraham.
Vihaya jayam ataraham.
Vihavasana lavasa.
Mrigavyasana lahasaha.
Chara, executed. Mrigayam,
Mrigayam
hunting. Tatra, there. Tripta, being proud. Taken. Ishu, arrows. Karmakaha, bow. Vihaya, giving up. Jayam, his wife. Atat arham, although impossible. Hunting. Yasana, evil activities. Lalasha, being inspired by. Translation. It was almost impossible for King Puranjana to give up the company of his queen even for a moment. Nonetheless, on that day, being very much inspired by the desire to hunt, he took up his bow and arrow with great pride, went to the forest, not caring for his wife. Please repeat. It was almost impossible for King Puranjana.
It was almost impossible.
The company of his queen even for a moment. Nonetheless, on that day, being very much inspired by the desire to hunt, he took up his bow and arrow with great pride. And went to the forest, not caring for his wife. One form of hunting is known as woman hunting. A conditioned soul is never satisfied with one wife. Those whose senses are very much uncontrolled especially try to hunt for many women. King Puranjana's abandoning the company of his religiously married wife is representative of the conditioned soul's attempt to hunt for many women for sense gratification. Wherever a king goes, he is supposed to be accompanied by his queen. But when the king, or conditioned soul, becomes greatly overpowered by the desire for sense gratification, he does not care for religious principles. Instead, with great pride, he accepts the bow and arrow of attachment and hatred. Our consciousness is always working in two ways, the right way and the wrong way. When one becomes too proud of his position, influenced by the mode of passion, he gives up the right path and accepts the wrong one. Kshatriya kings are sometimes advised to go to the forest to hunt ferocious animals just to learn how to kill, but such forays are never meant for sense gratification. Killing animals to eat their flesh is forbidden for human beings. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Translation repeated. It was almost impossible for King Puranjana to give up the company of his queen even for a moment. Nonetheless, on that day, being very much inspired by the desire to hunt, he took up his bow and arrow with great pride and went to the forest, not caring for his wife. Hare Krishna. So, nice verse, Nikita, 13:22. Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhukti Prakriti Jangana Karam Guna Samgrasya. No. Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhukti Prakriti Jangana Karam Guna Samgrasya Sarasadhyam Janvasu. That's it. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil in various species of life. So here we have the King Paranjana, the conditioned soul. It's extremely, after reading this chapter, Narada Muni is just giving the naked truth of the situation. And it is extremely pathetic situation. You know, the living entity who has left the spiritual world, fool number one, as Prabhupada would call him, us, fool number one, we've left the spiritual world, left Krishna's association, left his service and come down to try to play Krishna. And play the enjoyer separate, to enjoy, quote unquote, enjoy separate from Krishna in various species of life, enjoying, quote unquote, enjoying these different circumstances. And here we see in this allegorical situation, we're seeing that the situation, hopefully by hearing this situation, we will go, this is not worth doing. I mean, the living entity is given this machine, material body, encaged in it, encaged, like, you know, and it can only do so many things. It's quite elaborate. It suffers. This material body is cause of our suffering, this cage, and you're being stabbed by the threefold trident of different, you know, sufferings, material mind and body, earth, you know, the demigods, and you got fires, and you got earthquakes, and you got other living entities, and mosquitoes, and whoever's constantly being stabbed by these tridents, this trident of the threefold miseries. And the mind and senses are going wild. If one's a man, one runs after a woman and becomes a puppet, her puppet, you know. She just goes, okay, just kind of dance to my ways, you know, okay. And the guy's happy with that. And then to even on top of that patheticness, it's already, you think that's pathetic enough, but no, then the man is not satisfied with one wife and wants more women. Just constant, like shameless dog. A completely shameless dog. And where's the heroism in this? Where is the hero? Where is the you know, the stuff that gives the soul some, you know, higher thoughts and higher purposes and higher anything? Nothing. There's none. A feeling of, you know, well-being and so forth. There's none here. It's just a dog, a shameless dog. Shameless dog doesn't feel too proud of himself. And this desiring many women thing that Prabhupada's pointing out in the purport is a serious issue for men. When I was, well, we'll first go into this. How about Bhagavad Gita 7:27? Krishna is telling Arjuna that, see here, each devesha samudana dvandva mohina bharata sarva bhutani samoham sarge yanti prantapa. O Sayana Bharat, O conqueror the foe, all living entities are born into delusion from desire and hate. Go after something, you pose, you know, constantly on the mental plane. Purport: the real constitutional position of the living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. When one is deluded into separation from this pure knowledge, he becomes controlled by illusory energy and cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The illusory energy is manifested in desire and hate. Due to desire and hate, the person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord and envies Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pure devotees who are not deluded or contaminated by desire and hate can understand that Lord Sri Krishna appears by his internal duality and nescience, think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is created by material energies. This is their misfortune. Such deluded persons symptomatically dwell in dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain, etc., thinking, this is my wife, this is my house, I am the master of this house, I am the husband of this wife. These are the dualities of delusion. Those who are so deluded by dualities are completely foolish and therefore cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is King Paranjana. He's completely gone, captivated by this material dimension. And we see that this desiring issue with many men is quite common. We see that the majority of the people in the United States has voted for a person with serious problems with this. He's a convicted felon, many counts, sexual abuse and hush money case and all the rest. And people seem to be like, I don't know. No, I'm not condoning this, of course, but the curbing propensity is not so strong amidst our leadership in America, and thus generally the people in general as well. Fortunately, when I was 47-ish, my dad, I don't know how Krishna has given me the perfect father, always telling me exactly what I need to hear at different times. And when I turned about 47, he said, pulled me aside, and he said, you know, there's a tendency for a man when he gets to about 50 to give up his family life and go for a younger lady. He's got power, you know, some pride there, with great pride. He's got usually wealth, and he has all, you know, maybe some prestige in society, and he uses that. He has a tendency to use that to go after a younger lady, and this has happened to many of my friends, many people that I know, and it always turns out that they're not happy. Fortunately, I didn't have any money, nor false prestige. But hearing this advice, I could feel the tendency. The tendency was there, strong. And by this nice advice of my father, by the mercy of Krishna, you know, got me aware of that, and so I curbed that propensity. But without that curbing of the propensity, many, 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 many families have been destroyed. Many. And the men regret it later. And of course, the entire family regrets it later. Yeah. And we see, though, the ideal king, who was that? King who only had one wife. Such an Rama. Yes. You know, he went through quite an ordeal having one wife and, you know, but played that ideal role. It's a nice example. You know, can't find examples. And when I was 13, I could not find, when I was 12 or 13, I was thinking I have to have a role model to look up to, you know, just to strive, you know, like the dog races, they chase the rabbit, you know, you got to chase something, you know, so I can thrive. And I literally searched the entire gamut of my consciousness and couldn't think of anybody, of somebody that I wanted to become like. Not one, except he had this concept of Jesus that, according to the church, you know, it's God. It's God, you know, it's not really, God can do whatever he wants. Of course, that was their interpretation of Jesus. So it wasn't really such a role model. It's just God can do anything anytime. I want, you know, a human that can, you know, you're striving. I could not think of any. You know, the president, that was Nixon at the time, I think, you know. you know, my parents are cool, but, you know, they had some vices, so forth, and all the rest. So, but here, the Vedic literature provides so much. Of course, Rama is Krishna as well, but we have so many personalities like Srila Prabhupada that we can emulate and strive to become like and really flourish in this way. So one might ask, where does this propensities come from? Just the previous verse, you know, or a couple of verses back, King Paranjan is just being a puppet of the queen. And he now wants to go after more ladies. So where does this propensity come from? One of the purports within the Bhagavatam talks about Krishna's stealing propensity. And Prabhupada questions, well, where does this propensity come from? And where does it come from? Anybody know the origin of all these propensities? Krishna. Yes, Krishna has these tendencies. We see that he's completely bewildered by Radharani. You know, he's completely controlled, right? Mohana, Mohini. You know, he's controlled by pure love personified, the divine potency, Sri Radharani, completely controlled. But and any pure devotees that have pure love for him, he's controlled by. So this is this puppet program. You know, like there's a nice example of this bewilderment. Krishna is picking flowers, I guess, for Radharani, and he's just completely enamored at her beauty and charm and everything. And then he starts picking the moonbeams and putting them in his basket instead of flowers. Or we see like he's you know, many situations, or that devotee in pure love to Lord Chaitanya is offering him, wants to offer him bananas, but he's told to be offering him banana peels, right? And Lord Chaitanya. So we see that this enamored, controlled by pure love. And also this desiring many ladies thing. It's a little bit of a sensitive subject, but I'll keep it mild. This is from Shivaram Swami's Prayam book, 255, sorry. So here Krishna, let's see here. Krishna is appearing as, he sees the gopis there, Radharani and company there, and he appears as a heavenly goddess from heaven. And, you know, they think that Krishna doesn't know that she's Krishna. There we go. And Krishna in the form of this heavenly goddess starts telling Radharani and company, hey, O Saki, the vibration of Sri Krishna's flute is well known to all of you here in Vrindavan. Day and night, Vamsidhari delights the cows, sakas, elders, and gopis by his original melodies. However, this sound is not confined to Vraja. It enters our heavenly abode and wreaks havoc among the chaste ladies of Svarga. The song of this mischievous flute is like a mixture of nectar and poison. The long, drawn-out notes from the Murali cause a happiness that can only be compared to pouring nectar over one's head. But simultaneously, it awakens a pain of separation that defeats the poisonous effects of a snake bite. When the sweet nectar of that flute enters their ears, the Devis feel a limitless, ever-increasing ecstasy. In such a state, a woman of heaven dread even the thought of their husbands. As they float on the ocean of happiness, the poison effect of that flute song awakens desire to embrace Sri Krishna. This love fever of separation increases the temperature of their husbands are scorched by their touch. The husbands cry out, alas, alas, what has happened to you? And immediately releases them. So this is Krishna. Krishna, has this propensity to, enjoy on a high level. We have here also, this continues with, here we go. So now this goddess, Krishna, is telling, without a doubt, telling Radharani, without a doubt, your causeless love is beyond compare, she's telling Radharani. Its power can surmount any obstacle, but Saki, why have you chosen such an untrustworthy object of your affections? You have invited unlimited misery upon your head for all time. Hari is blessed with unlimited qualities like beauty, heroism, opulence, and fame, but he possesses one fault by which all these exalted characteristics are spoiled. So again, this is Krishna in the form of a goddess a heavenly goddess talking to Radharani. In matters of love, he is inconsiderate of others' feelings. He is both whimsical and unfaithful. He is not fit to be taken shelter of. And she continues, while hiding in Vamsivat, my heart broke to see how Gopal showed such false love to you. In a nicely decorated kunj invisible from the prying eyes of the moon, he showed you so much loving affection by his submissive dealings and sublime service. Then he abruptly went off to some other gopi, leaving you to cry a river of tears. I could not believe my eyes. So this story continues, and I will first, though, kind of shift gears a little bit. So this here we see that's pure. Krishna is unmotivated by pure Krishna prema, pure love, I should say, pure love, and Radharani is motivated by pure Krishna prema. So, but we don't see the same thing in the material dimension, right? We have Bhagavad Gita 15:1. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Udvam Mula Madasakam Asvatam Praharavyam Yacham Siddhas Parnani Yas Tam Vedasa Vedavit. The Supreme Personality of God said there is an imperishable banyan tree whose branches up and down, roots up and branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. So this reflection of the mango trees in the water. And so it's not only a reflection, but it's perverted reflection. So the topmost thing in the spiritual world, giving the greatest ecstasy, is parakya ras. And the most abominable thing, giving the most poison to the individual in the material world, is parakya ras. There you have pure, unalloyed love of Krishna, Goloka Vrindavan, free from the topmost planet in the spiritual world, free from the crippling, intimate feelings of awe and reverence that you find in the lower, the Vaikuntha planets, other ones. And then here in the material world, you have your greatest enemy, lust, insatiable greatest enemy that's never satisfied. And so we, by understanding this, we can hopefully make some decisions in our life that lead us to the greatest happiness and avoid this incredible poison and binding experience and so forth and so on. And so we have a choice. Prabhupada makes the point, some other purports, that we can, Krishna makes heroes. You can be either a material hero, everybody's a hero, you can be a material hero or a spiritual hero. A material hero goes after the happiness outside, not towards Krishna, and goes after Krishna's energy, right? So I remember one statement of, I don't know if anybody remembers Parthasarathi Prabhu. He fought in the Iraq War. Really for a while there. Really tried to make devotees. He got all of his platoon guys to chant Hare Krishna. Had the lowest fatality rate of it, I was told. But some of the guys weren't into it, into his becoming devotees. And one of them was shot and died in his arms. And the guy's going, is leaving his body, he's going, please tell me my wife that I love her, and this and that. Playing that like material, something you see in movies, the Bollywood, Hollywood stuff. And he was sharing what was going on in his mind. He didn't tell the guy this, but he said, what was going on in my mind when this was happening, and he was telling me this, was, look, bro, and he's just going to take, in 6 months, she's just going to take all the insurance money, and in 6 months, she's just going to be with another guy, This is what he was just sharing when this guy was like, fully invested into the material relationships and in the exploitative mentality of trying to enjoy one another through that. And it just simply doesn't work out. And Parthasarathi Prabhu was right, just going to go after another one. And here we hear where Tulsi Devi, in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, is sharing her strong assertions, exposing the exploitative mentality of men and women who desire to enjoy each other. Here she is with a guy coming on to her, or maybe imitating another gal that the guy's coming on to. And she writes or says, who are you? And why are you talking to me? If a noble man sees a virtuous woman alone, he doesn't talk to her. So go away. The Shastras say that only a degraded man desires a woman. Even Lord Brahma and other gods are deluded by her. Some of this gets really heavy duty. I'm going to, kind of chill a little bit here and skip some of this. But she appears to be very beautiful, but she is, just like that liquid beauty thing. She is a bucket of blood, urine, and stool. When God created her, he arranged that she become the spirit of delusion to the deluded and poison to those who desire liberation. Thus, on no account should a woman be desired. By all means, she should be avoided. Now, a little asterisk here. We're not cutting down the ladies. We're just talking about material nature and how it works, how the illusory energy works in this material world, because we're all part and parcel of Krishna, servants of Krishna. So no dig on the ladies or anything. And then she goes on, a man who is conquered by a woman is very impure and condemned by people in general. The forefathers and the demigods regard men who are conquered by women as low and contemptible. Even their fathers and mothers mentally despise them. The Vedas say that when a child is born or a relative dies, the Brahmanas are purified in 10 days, Kshatriyas in 12, Vaishyas in 15, Shudras and lower classes in 21. But a man conquered by a woman always remains impure. Only when the body is burned to ashes does he become purified. Neither the ancestors nor the demigods accept from him cakes, flowers, or any other offerings. Men whose hearts are totally conquered by women acquire no fruits from their knowledge, austerities, japa, fire sacrifices, worship, learning, or fame. So this is Tulsi. I mean, she's a lady, kind of telling us the situation. That's hardcore. But it's good to hear the hardcore because that tendency is so strong for a man to go after a lady. When we hear the hardcore thing, it curbs our propensity. Now, this, then on the other hand, that's the pursuit of the material hero. And there also is the spiritual hero, the pure devotee of Krishna. And now we're going to hear about this concept of love. So Krishna in this form of this maiden is, testing Radharani. Wants to extract from her some nectar, right? Digging deep in there and wants to get. And so finally, Radhika says, Saki, if you want to hear about prema, then listen. Prema is so great that learned Vedic scholars cannot understand it. What to speak of others who claim to know it? One who attempts to instruct an inquisitive person by measuring prema or comparing it to anything else has failed to comprehend prema. One who hears such a teacher is misled. She goes on and says, but that pure-hearted soul whose mind is imbued with affectionate attachment, free from all speculation, alone sits upon the throne of natural love. If you ask, what is the symptom of such love, Saki, I shall answer. Love is that attachment in which the lover's every act is solely dedicated to the happiness of the beloved. And she goes on to say, the only considerations that nurture prema are, what will please my lover and what will displease my lover. And continues, know for sure that the miseries of this world cannot influence prema. So this is a secret to being transcendental to this world and not being influenced by it, not being affected by it. Of course, get the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So know for sure that the miseries of this world cannot influence prema. To the contrary, as a lamp shines brighter in the darkness, so the glory of prema shines brighter in material affliction. We see this, right? I remember Mother Sanam mentioned something about endeavoring intensely and, getting the mercy of the Lord, something along those lines, tapping in. And the austerities we take on for Krishna, the sweeter it gets. It doesn't really work that way materially. So, see if I can extract a little more from this book here. Oh yeah. So she said, on account of the deceitful behavior of the beloved, causes, so she's admitting that the Krishna bee has this proclivity for tasting a variety of flower-like gopis. So she makes the comment, though, this is quite interesting. She says, on account of the deceitful behavior of the beloved, prema causes the lover to savor an ever-fresh array of intoxicating emotions. Thus prema shines with both the soothing rays of the moon that delight the three worlds and the scorching rays of the sun that annihilate the universe. So she's seeing it all as total nectar and just purely loving Krishna. And then she goes on to talk about Krishna's love. Krishna is an ocean of love, a mine of jewel-like qualities. He is most attractive to the cowherd damsels of Raj. In exchanges of love, he too showed symptoms of lust, like deceitfulness, naughtiness, and crookedness. But you should know these traits to be inspired by prema. So it's really all love, pure love. Yeah, it should be made clear. Sometimes prema appears in the guise of lust, and in that form gives Govinda unlimited bliss. Conversely, lust sometimes resembles prema, but such pretense never makes my beloved happy. The uninformed mistake prema for prema. But Krishna, the crown jewel of clever artists, is never deceived by such pretense. Devoid of prema, the resolute efforts of hundreds and thousands of the most beautiful girls fail to fulfill Sri Krishna's desires. This is so because only pure, So this is we have a real guru, Sri Prabhupada, who is, which a lot of people don't like. The only really super sincere one will be able to identify the difference between prema and, lust, love and lust, or spirit and matter. So that's why we have all these rules and regulations that are needed. Otherwise, we're going to fool ourselves. And Prabhupada makes that comment about chanting. And, you can go somewhere and just chant and be okay. Yeah, right. He says, forget it. Don't kid yourself. You don't try to imitate Haridas Thakur. And point is, yeah, all the regulations, just like because it gets, who knows, what energies you're feeling and this and that, and your heart's so content. Well, my heart's content, so it might think this and that and this and that and think wrong. So you have all these regulations to fall back on. Just like when I used to hike a lot, and you go above the tree line, and it's hard to find where the trail path to see is all rock. But the way you identify what's called cairns, where people put a bunch of rocks together, rocks, and then you go, there's the path. So a lot of people don't like these rules and regulations. That's because of lack of sincerity. Do they really want Krishna Prema? If you really want Krishna Prema, you're so happy to see the cairns, to have all these rules and regulations. And we follow them very nicely. We have to be very careful. Even with Seva, within Seva, you have so many rules and regulations. And if we don't follow that, it's called a Seva aparad. An offense. Now, Seva aparads are not as bad as, even with a Seva aparad, you can still be delivered. But with a Nam aparad, you can't. An offense to the holy name of the Lord. And it's stated that if you perform the Seva aparad on purpose, then it becomes a Nam aparad. So all these rules and regulations we should try to follow nicely. And this way, Krishna Prema becomes known, available, awakened. Or Krishna gives us such a thing. So, since Mother Sanamani liked Sankirtan stories, I have a couple here. So in this regard, I'll start with my lowly self, that I remember doing Sankirtan, maybe it was at a music festival somewhere, and all of a sudden, this energy I felt this energy that was really, really intoxicating, intense energy. And I did not understand it. I was going, okay, what is this energy? I got all these movements in the body going on, and emotions and feelings and all kinds of stuff. And head starting to swirl a little bit. I go, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, this person that looked a little bit like a denizen from heaven, some goddess, starts coming up to me. And I'm like, okay. They're challenging the brahmachari in me a little bit there. And she's saying how wonderful this is and how she's into it and all that. And, it was like quite intoxicating. And then I was still trying to figure out this energy, because it was very unique and very intense. And, serving Dhanavir Maharaj for so long and having all these rules and regulations there helped a lot. But I still was challenged. And then she asked me for my name, so I could say the word Paramesvara, name of God. And I said Paramesvara Das. So I reminded myself who I was there, which was really helpful. Then there was this long pause, so I figured I better ask her name, That seemed like the appropriate thing. So what's your name? And she goes, my name is Maya. And then I went, oh! And then immediately I went, Krishna, you're so kind. I mean, if we just follow sincerely, Krishna will help us out. He doesn't want us to lose all these, lose the game, He wants us to win. Wants us to get the Krishna Prema. So I didn't know what the energy was, and Krishna's so kind that he just arranged remind me, oh, I know what this energy is now. This is Maya. This is Maya. That happened to me twice. Same thing, similar thing, and both times they told me that their name was Maya. Thank God her name wasn't Christy or something else, Well, Christy was kind of like Krishna, so that might have helped a little bit. But Maya was really like, okay, makes it really clear. I'm a total neophyte. Krishna's giving me the pass this, okay? So that was. There's an example of if we apply ourselves sincerely, we follow the rules and regulations, Krishna will help us out. And so then I could back up, I could, my consciousness go, okay, watch out. Be careful here. Don't fall for this. So, and then, on the other note, talking about the great soul, Brigapati Prabhu. Can't glorify him enough. And regarding, difference between love and love. And Brigapati Prabhu is a nice example of Krishna Prema. So we're on the Warped Tour, 7 people in that van. He's 64 years old. We're on 30th show in a row, just, trashed, completely devastated, just praying to Krishna is all we got left. I mean, really, at night, the mosquitoes were so bad in Florida. No, we can't all fit in the van, so we have to be outside. So there's so many mosquitoes. Literally, they will just hundreds. And so I'm in my 0-degree sleeping bag. That's all I had. Zipped all the way up to my nose. It's 90 degrees out with 80% humidity. And I deep my face, that's a little part of my face that's showing, but deep, with whatever, mosquito repellent, heavy duty stuff, and you can just hear the mosquitoes. And I literally I woke up totally drenched. I probably lost a gallon or 2 of the liquid water. Really. I mean, it's toasted. I was so tired I fell asleep. And then you got the trucks going, bad truck stop and stuff like that. Next to you. It's crazy. And then you do this money, but a whole truck, a whole van load of books will go out every week, 135 cases. You have to replenish in our day off. It wasn't a day off. We'd have to go replenish the books and do all laundry and everything. So Brigapati was on this, and the alarm clock goes off. I have this thing where Prabhupada said, if, devotees of the Lord must rise before 4 a.m. So I have the alarm at 3:55. So everybody's up. It's a little bit of a military style on a Warped Tour. And the alarm goes off. This is another circumstance. And Brigapati Prabhu, literally, he lies like this, flat on his back. And the alarm goes off, and within a second, he's up. And he's just up, and he's just talking to me about Krishna and all of his pastimes and some high philosophical thoughts, just immediately, from out, and then we're talking out. You got 6 hours of out, and a heavy duty day from 4 a.m. all the way to 9 p.m. just day after day, within a second. And I'm just looking at this person you are crazy. I'm yes, Prabhu, thank you, Prabhu. I'm groggy, in ecstatic, in trance or something. And then I'm watching him later in the day. We're at the show, and most of us are really exhausted. I think all of us are super exhausted. And I'm on the curb. It was a tough show, so I kind of gave up, or at least taking a break. And people weren't taking so much. And I sit on the curb, and Brigapati Prabhu didn't see me. And he's trying to distribute these books and getting shot down one after another. And you can see him going, and puts the next guy, and he gets shot down. And he just kept, and I'm he's going to give up. And that justifies my sitting down on the curb, right? I'm thinking any second now. But he kept going. And pretty soon somebody gave him some change. He's and he goes and gets shut down, and the book started to move, and it's he just started to move. The book started moving like anything. He started distributing tons of books. I'm what determination! This is so bizarre. I had this dream once where it was wartime, and Brigapati Prabhu himself were in the forest, hidden from all the bad guys. Forest between these 2 rocks and starts shooting everybody. I'm thinking, when he's, you get out of my comfort zone. I got to back you up. Back him up, and we just start picking off everybody. But Prabhupada is driven with this something internal potency, is something to do with love. Obviously, Prabhupada, Krishna Prema, but Prabhupada's disciples, they're infected with the same disease of this Krishna Prema on some level, where he's just driven to do this. No material motivation. You're not going to get anything materially from the Warped Tour. No money, nothing. Nothing. Suffering, severe. So by us serving these great souls, we can fulfill our propensity, like Prabhupada desired to be a puppet for Krishna. Right? So our puppet propensity, instead of being a puppet for material pursuits, we can be Mother Sadamni's puppet. How about that, right? So you can be a puppet for a lady, no problem. So this propensity can be fulfilled by serving a pure devotee and just doing whatever Mother Sadamni says and being totally blissed out. And it's not, and you're still a spiritual hero. And this desire to enjoy many others, since a devotee is the kalpavriksha tree, right? Like, right, we say Vanchakalpatarishya. You know, devotees of the Lord, what is it? From my respectful basis, and all of Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, just like desire trees. So this desire tree, you can get anything you want from a desire tree. So this tendency for a bee to go from one plant to another, looking for the nectar, it doesn't need to do that if it found a kalpavriksha tree, right? So propensity for you don't have to go search and search and search. So I went and I expected, so I didn't end it so well. But thank you for tolerating all that. Are there any comments or questions? Yeah.
So the program you're on, is it just every day distributing books?
Yeah, it was 2 months roughly in the summer. The work tour is no longer existing, but
Work
it was
tour,
a massive
right.
concert tour, yeah. And to add to all that, yeah, super hot out.
Yeah.
And bands screaming the top of their lungs, sounding just like a pig slaughterhouse
Oh,
all day long.
I must have
realize
made a
what it
lot
sounded
of
like.
advancement because that's very austere.
It was far out. But everybody loved it because tons of books went out. It was worth it. Yeah. Any other comments or questions? So, yeah, we can take knowledge of this Bhagavatam, take it to heart, and realize that this lusting propensity after others, after Krishna's energy, is not going to work out. But this loving propensity to go after Krishna himself and serving Radha and Krishna in Radha Krishna form, or we have Radha and Krishna appearing as Lord Chaitanya from this consciousness in here. It operates either in the right way or the wrong way. So it's not too challenging to find somebody that's using the conscious. With the knowledge, we realize, they realize that there's a better way to go. It's a bit more higher high. It not only has a more blissful time later in the spiritual world, but even now, where can you go to get better food, to get better association, to get better engagement? Do you want to work in a factory today? Anybody want to work in a factory? You know, they have nets on they have nets on their and underneath their building where they make those Apple iPhones. I don't know if you know this. Why do they have nets? Because people are so fried out that they jump out of the windows. They have nets. There's nets. That's how fried people can be with their factory working jobs. So we have wonderful association, food, prasad, and engagement, knowledge. You want to go to college? I mean, it's okay if you want to go to college, but I remember sitting in college, literally, I had my pencil there. I would stab myself to stay awake. I remember that, literally. I could to keep myself from falling asleep. I would stab myself with the pencil. Somehow, because it's so boring. And I remember realizing this is just too much. It's too much. And then you read Bhagavatam, you're like, wow, this is nectar. you know? So you're getting the best of absolutely everything. And so right now, you get the best of everything. And the extra perk that you might even forget about is you're going to go to the spiritual world. I mean, you already are in the spiritual world. Just a matter of time before we fully realize that. So thank you for tolerating me, and beg you all to make that sound, healthy decision. Keep reading the books and distributing the books, helping other people make sound, healthy decisions, and careful of this great pride. You know, women and money are major stumbling blocks in the path. You know, not that we have to, you know, we're not bashing the ladies, but this is just how material nature works. So be careful. It states that one who absolute power corrupts. And if you want to test somebody, give them power and money and power. You want to test their qualities. And then it also states, same verses, some famous quotes. It says that's why it says almost all or all powerful men were bad men. So maybe it's almost, because that tendency to corrupt is there. We see this on a regular basis in the news and elsewhere. So be careful and remember, apply all the rules and regulations. And sure enough, Krishna Prema is right there. Thank you very much. Ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Premanand. Hari Hari Bol.